My sister Erin had the same voicemail greeting for 6 years. Hey, it's Erin. You know what to do. 7 words. I could hear them in my sleep. After she died, I called her number just to hear them, just to hear her voice say something, anything, one more time. The grief counselor said it wasn't healthy. I didn't care. Every night at 10 p.m. I'd dial, listen, hang up, and feel for exactly 4 seconds like she wasn't gone. I did it for 5 nights in a row. On the 6th night, someone picked up. No voice, no greeting, just breathing, slow and even, like whoever was on the other end had been waiting for me to call. I told myself it was a telecom glitch, a wrong number, a mistake. I hung up and didn't sleep until sunrise. On the 7th night, I almost didn't call, but grief doesn't ask permission. So at 10 p.m., I dialed again. It rang once, and then a voice said, Maya, come home. My name. She said my name. I dropped the phone. When I picked it back up, the line was dead. I sat on my kitchen floor for a long time, telling myself it was a recording, an old voicemail somehow playing back, telling myself there was an explanation, because there is always an explanation. Then I looked at my recent calls. I hadn't called her number in 7 days. The calls were coming from her number, to mine. I don't know how long I sat there. Eventually the phone rang again. Unknown number this time. A woman's voice, older, shaking, asked if anyone had been calling her daughter's phone. Her daughter had died 3 weeks ago. She'd been receiving calls from her daughter's number too. Late at night, breathing at first, then a voice, her daughter's voice, telling her to come home. Neither of us had made a single outgoing call. I still don't know what's on the other end of that line, but I know this. Last night, at 10 p.m., my phone rang, and the screen just said, Erin.
Every old house has its quirks. Drafty windows, pipes that knock at 3 a.m., a cellar door that won't stay latched. You learn to live with them. You tell yourself it's just the house settling, just the age of the thing, just wood and plaster doing what wood and plaster does after 100 years. My grandmother's farmhouse had one quirk, a single index card taped to the hallway mirror in her handwriting. Do not look after 12. I'm a grown man. I took the card down, threw it in the trash, and went to bed. Nothing happened. The second night, I walked past the mirror at midnight, just going to the kitchen for water, and I glanced at it the way you glance at any mirror. Habit, reflex. My reflection looked back at me and then it blinked. Half a second after I did, I stood there for a long time, blinked again, fast, 3 times. My reflection did the same, just delayed, like a video call with bad signal. I told myself I was tired. I told myself grief does strange things to the mind. I just buried my grandmother 2 weeks ago. I went back to bed and stared at the ceiling until morning. On the 3rd night, I didn't mean to look, but mirrors have a way of catching your eye. My reflection was already facing me when I turned. It hadn't been waiting for me to move. It was just watching, still. And then, very slowly, it smiled. I don't smile like that. I pulled the mirror off the wall the next morning in full daylight, with every light in the house blazing. Behind it, where there should have been nothing but plaster and lath, there was a door, old wood, black iron handle, set directly into the wall. I told myself I wouldn't touch it. I almost made it to my car. The handle was warm, like someone had just let go of it from the other side. And from somewhere behind that door, faint. The way sound travels through walls. Late at night, I heard breathing, slow, even, waiting. The paramedics said my heart stopped for 37 seconds. They said I was lucky. They said the man who pulled me out of the water knew CPR. They said another minute and things would have been very different. They used words like stable and remarkable and go home and rest. Nobody asked what I saw during those 37 seconds. I wouldn't have told them anyway. I remember a hallway, pale walls, no doors, no end that I could see, and footsteps behind me, keeping pace. I never turned around. Something told me, the way you just know things in dreams, that turning around was the one thing I must not do. Then someone was pressing on my chest and I was coughing up river water and a paramedic was telling me to stay with him. I told myself it was nothing. The brain misfiring under trauma. Nothing. I noticed the shadow 3 days after I came home. It was mine. Same shape, same height, but it moved wrong. Just a fraction behind, the way my reflection had seemed to lag in the bathroom mirror that first morning. I'd blink, and my shadow would go still a half second too late. I'd raise my hand, and it would follow, sluggish, like it was deciding whether to bother. My dog wouldn't come near me. 7 years, that dog has slept at the foot of my bed. Now she sat in the doorway and whined. On the 37th day, I was standing in the kitchen when I saw it. My shadow raised its hand. Both of mine were at my sides. I didn't think. I ran. Out the back door, into the yard, into the full bright weight of a midday sun. I stood on the grass, breathing hard, and I looked down. 2 shadows stretched out in front of me, mine, and one slightly darker, slightly longer, standing just behind my left shoulder. I watched them both for a long moment, then the second shadow turned and walked back inside without me. The back door clicked shut. My dog hasn't stopped barking since. And last night, for the first time since the accident, I heard footsteps in the hallway.